Let's freaking go. We are only growing here on the Fantasy Football QuestCast, where we help you save, invest, all the good football card content is right here with my guy Andy, who's been killing it on the channel lately, talking about card sets you should avoid. I got a few thoughts on that a little bit later in the live stream, but obviously to go a long way, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and the best thing you can do is leave a 5-star review on whichever podcasting platform that we have today. Now, Andy, I shared with you a really spicy quarterback take, and I see a lot of people losing money, just setting it on fire right now, and we'll get to that in just a second. But obviously a lot of news going on right now. However, we want to dive deep into wide receivers today, Andy, because over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about quarterback sales data. If you want to go back and listen to that, we'll link it down below. We'll talk about it. And obviously, a few weeks ago, we talked about running back data in the very next episode. And today, Andy, we're getting deep into the wide receivers.
Oh, yes, we are, Carter, because the market's heating up, man. The market has gone up across the board for so many different players that have proven to be good last year, players that people are speculating on for 2022. It's exciting right now. I mean, if you're not profiting on cards that you bought in October, November, December of last year, then you're not subscribed to this channel. I don't know what you're doing.
And look, a few weeks ago, you could get some amazing rookie ticket autos of some wide receivers that have already made Pro Bowls and that are still relatively young. And a lot of those receivers are on new teams. So, Andy, for an overview, we're going to talk about the different sets of some of the wide receivers here, including Justin Jefferson, who to me is the youngest, AKA / best wide receiver for the next 5 years you can invest in. But Andy, when you look at all the players, what really jumps out at you?
Well, I'll say the first thing that jumps out to me is that people aren't really comping on these more rare cards. And what do we mean by comping is comparing similar prices of either the same card and looking at the recently sold items on whatever marketplace you're shopping, probably most likely eBay, or you're looking at a similar player from the same draft class that is at their peak. Like you take Justin Jefferson versus CeeDee Lamb, for example, same draft class, but much different production over the last 2 years. And you compare the prices of those two players. And I'm noticing a lot of people aren't doing that on these rare cards. We're going to talk about National Treasures, Flawless, Immaculate, Rookie Ticket Autos, Optic Hollow Autos, Prism Silver Autos, and even Mosaic for 2020, 2021. And look at some of those numbers because people are not comparing these recently sold items. And it shows in the amount of the sold value, the way it varies between card to card and player to player. And I think a lot of it may be driven off of just the eye appeal, the design in it of itself. And people are being a little bit impulsive right now. And it's hard not to with all the team moves and the historic NFL offseason that we're having.
Yeah, and right off the jump here, Andy, I want to get into sets along with the players. So it's you're a big Mike Evans collector, and this guy has Tom Brady back. We all know about his 1,000-yard season streak, and he is quietly putting together a Hall of Fame career. But he's kind of strange in that you can never really pinpoint the year that Mike Evans was a top 3 or top 4 wide receiver in the NFL. So, he is like an elite player, but is he really elite? Like the same way you view a Terrell Owens? He's not. But as far as, data, you can go all the way back to 2012 when Prism was first released and find some pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, Carter. And as they go back, the cards inherently get more rare from the same sets. You do have more players in the game before 2016 when Panini took over that exclusive license from the NFL and NFLPA. But Carter, let's look at these modern day guys, because this is wild, right? Justin Jefferson, arguably number one dynasty wide receiver in consensus over Jamar Chase. I know it's very close. When I look at the card values, Jamar Chase's are about twice as much as Justin Jefferson. And what's interesting, right? So look at Justin Jefferson, because we have all of his cards out from 2020. And you could look at his National Treasures, numbered out of 99 RPA, about $260 raw. You look at the Flawless. Now, Flawless is very hard set to find comparable sold prices on, because they are very rare. They don't even have numbered out of 99 cards. We're talking numbered out of 20, numbered out of 10 and less. So very rare cards, very hard to get comparable prices on those. Some of them even have diamonds and other gems like inserted within the card. So those are really difficult. I'm going to skip those for now and look at Immaculate, which is a really nice. A lot of people like the Immaculate design over National Treasures. And the recent comps for Justin Jefferson's Immaculate, numbered out at 99, is $250. So about the same as the National Treasures. But then we look at Contenders rookie ticket autos. You know, my favorite set, which I think has grown on you as your favorite set. Those for Justin Jefferson, numbered out at 99 rookie ticket autos, are going for $300 to $350. More than NT, more than Immaculate.
And what does that tell me? Well, it tells me, once again, we talk about it on this channel all the time, rookie ticket autos are the shiznit. Notice I didn't say the actual bad word, but they really are, right? Especially in what we see right now, the 2021. And we talked about this, last week. It's a little bit of a throwback, a little bit of paid homage to that 2001 with some of those inserts that they have in there. So, it goes to show you that people really still care about that rookie ticket auto. And Andy, you can go on there, and I see, I know this sounds like an LSU live stream because we're talking about Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Andy, obviously, LSU football is my full-time job. Power Hour LSU. That's what I do. Okay. It pays the bills. I have a lot of fun with it. But Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase cards are a little bit out of my price range for something that I really, really, really do want. But what's crazy to me, Andy, is this new 2021 set. You see Terrace Marshall. This guy did absolutely nothing as a rookie. I freaking love Terrace Marshall, Shreveport, Louisiana. You see some of his cards in this new set going for 60, 70, well, not 60, 70, but in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, which is about the same price you can get a Deontay Johnson rookie ticket auto. And this guy's already made a freaking Pro Bowl, more than you can get, a DJ Chark rookie ticket auto. And I know he's going to Detroit, but still, it's crazy to me how much people love the rookie ticket autos with some of the prices of just the wide receivers, the running backs, and even the quarterbacks. But obviously we're focusing just in on wide receivers, Andy. And it's pretty crazy to me how high some of Jamar Chase's cards have gotten already.
Yeah. And I want to look at Jamar Chase. Two more card sets I want to throw in there for Justin Jefferson that are really interesting to look at. You can see how sets like Select and Mosaic have been devalued. They are not held in nearly the same regard as National Treasures, Immaculate, rookie ticket autos, and even Optic and Prism. You can see that the Optic Hollow, numbered out of 99 for Justin Jefferson, recently sold for $300. And I would suggest that the market has gone up on this card since then. And the Prism Silvers are going, and these aren't even numbered, these Prism Silver autos, and this is a sticker auto, these are going for around $320. So you can see there a Legacy Silver Prism for $125, and then a Select and a Mosaic Silver Prism autos going for around $150. So you can see how the market has devalued those sets over the rookie ticket autos, the National Treasures, the Immaculates. Those have really risen to the top. And it's even more evident when we look at Jamar Chase in 2021, Carter. This is what really blows my mind. Now we don't have all the data that I want for Jamar Chase because his National Treasures Pro uniform product is not out yet. The best I have is a collegiate product out of 25, about $310. Flawless, same thing, college only right now. And those numbered out of 20. Those are probably about the most common flawless collegiate products you can find for him, about $500. Immaculate, though, for Jamar Chase is out, numbered out of 99. These are really nice cards. I would say these go for an average of $500. Now, what's weird is this is where people aren't really comparing these values very good on just like looking up Jamar Chase Immaculate, because the price varies wildly between sold items. So I'm gonna. It's just it's wild to me to think that you could
God
see.
bless. Wow.
Yeah, you could see one Jamar Chase selling for $810 and then another one selling for $500 with arguably, the same scarcity, right? The same exact scarcity,
Yeah.
both numbered out of 99, a little bit different design, both on card autos. It just blows my mind, the price variance on some of these.
Yeah, I think some of that's Burrow. I really do. Obviously, dating back Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, especially now that Ed Orgeron's kind of fired. He is fired. A lot of people see how legendary that connection was. And we saw it in the Super Bowl where Jamar Chase would have had the game-winning touchdown had uh, they blocked Aaron Donald on that play. Jamar Chase's talent is obviously pretty evident. And Andy, I really do think some of that Joe Burrow being his quarterback is kind of baked in there. And then, people just aren't as comfortable with Kirk Cousins being Justin Jefferson's quarterback. So I think that's part of it here, Andy, but also Jamar is just the new thing. A lot of it is just this card is out right now. Right. And it's very interesting. You look at, I saw some of the data you were sharing there about Deebo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb, and a bunch of other highly ranked dynasty wide receivers. I'm curious what you have to say about those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more set I'll throw in there for Jamar Chase to really paint a picture here about the rookie ticket autos. When you look at Jamar Chase's rookie ticket autos, even the redemptions that are, so for example, the redemption right here, this is not serial number. This is selling for $800. And we know, and maybe the people bought this don't understand, but it's right now, it's taking close to a year to send these in and get these cards back from Panini, these redemption cards. So that's a really delayed gratification purchase.
Yeah.
And we know the 2021 rookie ticket autos are out in the wild right now. And those for Jamar Chase are selling for around $1,000, and these are not serial numbered at all. So far, I'm seeing a lot of love for the 2021 rookie ticket auto. I think this is a very popular design. You and I have talked about it. I really like this new year's rookie ticket auto design, and it's evident in the recently sold items in the market.
This is my favorite design. And then once again, going back to that insert that they have in it is just so freaking clean. So, for me, Andy, I'm the target market for Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. And obviously I'm going to get their rookie ticket autos at some point, but my funds just don't line up with what those are going for right now. But to me, it's just fascinating, how good these wide receivers are. Every year, every draft class is producing some really all-time great talents. It is truly incredible what Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson did in their first couple of years. And then once again, you had Debo's and you got the Cooper Kupps of the world, and we've seen their values just absolutely positively explode. So once again, if you're listening to this audio, we also have a YouTube version where Andy is showing you different price points of recently sold items. And CeeDee Lamb, he's got this iconic signature. And now that Amari Cooper's out of the equation, targets are going to go up for old CeeDee.
Yeah, the thing is, I think there's a lot of hobbyists that aren't great at projecting these this kind of stuff like vacated targets and target share and some of the advanced opportunity metrics that we look at in fantasy football that are driving CeeDee Lamb up our draft boards. We're starting to take him closer because we know that this is going to more than likely 90+% chance that Dallas is going to be a 4,000+ passing yard season. And CeeDee Lamb is going to have a 20 to 25% target share, probably, So if you do the math, that's 1,000 plus receiving yard season for CeeDee Lamb. It's the largest market in the NFL. Dallas Cowboys. The NFC East is still a relatively soft division. I think the Dallas Cowboys are definitely going to be looking at another playoff run. The defense is still solid. So there's a lot of key components they're going to have back there. And it's interesting to see how much lower CeeDee Lamb's prices are than Justin Jefferson.
It is. I'm still not a true CD believer, just because Mike McCarthy's his head coach. Obviously, CD underperformed our fantasy expectations last year, but obviously Amari Cooper out of the picture, the NFC getting softer. It's just, very tantalizing for a lot of people out there. And once again, it's very important as a buyer, investor, collector. CeeDee Lamb was in that legendary 2020 wide receiver class, obviously with Justin Jefferson. So it's a very interesting. He's such an interesting player. And Andy, Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel are two guys that have just took themselves to a different level. And something else to keep in mind about both of those guys is, look, those guys won the most fantasy leagues last year. Where you drafted them, you can go look at the percentages. Cooper Kupp won you the most fantasy football leagues. Deebo Samuel won you the most fantasy football leagues. If not, they got you really far in the playoffs. And it was highly likely if you had either one of them or both, you were at minimum in the fantasy football playoffs. And that makes people excited. Those guys helped you win money. So you kind of grow that connection. You saw some Deebo cards just go for a lot. And obviously Cooper Kupp cards, I invested in a Cooper Kupp pretty heavy. Actually, I sold a lot of them before the season even began. I wish I held on to more of them. It paid off for a lot of people, Andy. It really is incredible what the wide receiver market is doing for those guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I gathered data for Deebo Samuel as well. The data for CeeDee Lamb pretty much stayed relatively the same, in correlation to that of Justin Jefferson. You can see his prices are about 50% of what Justin Jefferson's are. So, CeeDee Lamb investors out there can get excited about that, knowing that the comparison is that much lower. With the possibility, which is the possibilities there, Carter. If Mike McCarthy doesn't ruin it for him, right? But okay, so this is where people I'm finding are not doing a good job of comparing him, and maybe this is that Cali money. I don't know. Let's look at this, Carter. So here's a couple immaculate cards, both numbered out of 99 for Deebo Samuel. One sold for $150, $160 in auction. The other one sold for roughly $400 in a buy it now format, just one day apart.
Are you kidding me? Was the gap that big?
The gap was that big. The gap was that big.
They're not even looking. People are just, and it goes to show you, Andy, the power of the buy it now.
Very true. And here's another example, Carter, of two buy it now. So you got one buy it now of a numbered out of 99 iMac patch, the same exact design virtually, except the patch, the two colors of the patch are just not lined up the exact same as that top card. You can see one is like a 50-50 red and black patch, and the other one's like a 75% red, 25% black, both on card auto, both numbered out of 99. One sold for $400 in a buy it now. The other one, 5 days earlier, sold for about $160 in a buy it now format. This is just a massive difference for a car. Like, did that March 20th guy that spent $400 not look and see if there was some recently sold to this same card and found one 5 days earlier that was accepted for around $160?
And this is, a valuable lesson. If you're just listening to this for the first time, Andy, it is very important for people to filter buy it now searches. And a lot of people don't want to say this, Andy, but we try and be as transparent and honest as we possibly can when we do the show. Buy it now eBay searches is what fuels pricing. It just does. You can watch any sports card vlog right now, and if you don't, I mean, you're just going to see it. Everyone, when they're buying cards, they filter buy it now. And what do they say, Andy? They say the last one sold for, and that's how the
Mm-hmm.
market works.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very key to understand how to filter buy it now. It's very simple. You go to eBay, you type in your search items, and all you got to do is on the left corner, if you're on a desktop, if you're on mobile, it's going to be on the right side. You go down, you scroll down a little bit, you got to scroll down and just click buy it now. And then you'll see what the recently solds are for that item, depending on your search, and similar items as well. It's very critical you do that because this person with Debo Samuel, you see it. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, $200 differences for very similar cards.
Yeah, and with some of the more, it gets some unethical practices in some of the auctions. You can kind of tell
Sure.
when there's zero feedback buyers bidding, $5,000 on a card. It's a little shady. We don't.
Right.
It's really hard to kind of see. So that's why some people are driving up auctions only to have that recently sold item go up in value, so they can say, "Hey, this sold in auction." So that's why Carter says, buy it now. Buy it now is a much better, indicator to look at. It's a much better marker to look at when, trying to compare recently sold items. I want to ask you about this 2019 National Treasures design for Debo Samuel right here, because you see another, $150 price difference on a couple buy it nows for Debo Samuel. Same scarcity, both numbered out of 99. And you look at this, and I know that the big red patch and the bold red colors on the bottom one are jumping out, but does that really warrant a $150 increase in this card?
Heavens no. Especially considering it's just one big old giant red patch. And if you are new to patch cards, I'm a stickler about this, Andy. I like a multicolored patch, and I think a lot of people actually agree with me. I don't think that's really a hot take at all. And you could see it, right? You could see it across the hobby. It's not just football. It's even bigger, honestly, in basketball. The patches having a 3-color patch, and what that means essentially is you're getting a stitching of a jersey instead of one just big old blank patch of a uniform. So it's obviously a game changer. And if you're looking on YouTube here, you see it. That's just a patch. Both of these are just like a big old chunk white patch or big old chunk red patch. Andy, I would prefer the card at the top right there over that one simply because the auto's a little bit more centered and it's just an overall cleaner card.
Yeah, you can't even see Debo's jersey number. You can't even really see 85% of his body on that bottom one. It's just like a giant patch that, has never been really truly worn from him in any type of game or anything.
No.
What's interesting, and this is, I think, a big takeaway. I think we touched on this before. You see these values 2021 and or not 2021, but 2020 optic hollow autograph cards numbered out of 99 holding the same value as those more rare sets, the Immaculates, the National Treasures, some of the rookie ticket autos. But we go to 2019, we know that by doing our research, the 2019 optic is in fact more rare. There's less of them. There's less parallels. There's less inserts. They printed less of that product. And in fact, I'm seeing a lower sold value on average for 2019 optic cards, the same exact scarcity. Here you can see Debo Samuel March 9th for $160.
And I really like that card, even though it does look like a sticker. It is a lower serial number too. That number 7 out of 99. I like that, and that's why it's very key to do those buy it now searches, Andy. So that was a lot of fun looking at the wide receiver data, and obviously our big takeaway. You look at this rookie ticket auto, Debo's. His rookie ticket autos are beautiful. They really are. You can get some really good prices, and that one right there, 10-10 auto slab grade. I mean, that's just incredible in that SGC. And if you are listening to this via audio, the basic gist of this, Andy, is you can get some steals, but at the same time, make sure you do your price checking as well.
Absolutely. Make sure you do your price checking every time you buy a card, especially when you're spending any type of considerable amount of money, because you want to make sure you get the best deal. I mean, and we're not just talking like, hey, we're nickel and diamond over $5-10. Like we showed you, this could potentially cost you a couple $100 if you don't do it right. So that's why it's so important. And then, understanding the scarcity, and understanding the amount of variety when you go back, 2019, 2018, 2017, different players. It's really important. That's the main drivers that differentiate sports cards from playing fantasy football, is all the variety.
Right. And before we get into some spicy QB takes here, this was a lot of fun. Andy, I really appreciate your hard work looking at this. Once again, the major overarching point is you can get some really filthy deals on wide receivers. You really can. And
Hmm.
we truly do believe in wide receivers in the hobby. Once again, it's always going to be a quarterback driven hobby. We're not going to shy away from that. But now that these rookie wide receivers are so good, and a lot of times you're going to have more great rookie wide receivers than you will have rookie quarterbacks. I think the wide receiver market is going to go up. Whereas in the last episode, we warned you against Jonathan Taylor, and we showed you what LaDainian Tomlinson cards and what Adrian Peterson cards go for now. And it's crazy how cheap they are. I still think those are really good buys. You could still get some really good autograph rookie cards from those guys in the hundreds, 200s, $300 range. And those are steals. Those are the two best running backs of this era. And Andy, I'm going to leave you with one parting thing. You could do the same thing with wide receivers as well. You could still get some amazing Calvin Johnson cards, some unbelievable parallels. You can get some amazing Julio Jones cards as he enters into the final stage of his career. And we didn't talk about them too much. Devontae Adams. You could still get Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins for some really good price points as well. I would warn against Cooper Kupp because, he is, the wide receiver in the NFL right now. And Devontae Adams' prices have gone up as well because he did make arguably the most shocking recent move, the most shocking move of a non-quarterback. But once again, it's crazy what you can get for some of these legendary wide receivers, Andy.
Yeah, Devonte Adams rookie ticket autos are going for less than $200. Not
Crazy.
serial numbered, on card auto though. These are really nice cards right now. They're going for about $150, $200, which blows my mind. However, we know what youth, what the unknown ceiling does to players in the NFL. There's a lot more volatility in the younger guys, but that $150 investment in a Devonte Adams rookie ticket auto is a lot safer. And you've got a lot more concrete evidence behind that investment than you do in even Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, any of the super young guys.
I'll say this, right? If the Raiders make a run in that AFC division with Herbert and the Chargers and Mahomes and the Chiefs and Wilson and the Broncos, if he makes a run, he immediately becomes one of the greatest Raiders of the modern era simply because he left because he always wanted to be a Raider and he always wanted to be back with his friend David Carr. And um the thing that he wanted, the safer thing would have been to stay in the weaker NFC and stay with Aaron Rodgers. And he probably would have set a ton of records, but he did this on his own. And something about that, the Raiders have the most diehard fan base of them all. And Devontae Adams is a bigger star than his quarterback, which is also a very rare thing in the NFL. So I still think he's got some major upside if the Raiders do what we don't expect them to do, which is make a run in the AFC next year. So I still think there's a lot of potential, and there's also a relatively high floor because I think Adams has been to the Pro Bowl every year since 2017. I think he is a pretty safe Hall of Famer. I think it's pretty safe to say he's been a top three, no less than top five receiver, Andy, of the past 5 years. So I think it's very interesting that you can get his rookie ticket auto for $131. one compared to a Jamar Chase rookie ticket auto, which is going for 1,000. And once again, it's just that new shine, Andy, that new shine, baby.
That new shine, man. Not to mention Devontae Adams had over 1,300 receiving yards, double-digit touchdowns with Derek Carr at Fresno State. I mean, you gotta love this reunited. I mean, that offensive rate, the whole AFC West is just insane. They've gone nuclear, Carter. They've gone nuclear.
So now it's time to talk about some spicy 2022 takes before we get into hobby tip of the week and plays of the week. And Andy, I'm going to go on a crusade here, right? I don't like Trevor Lawrence. I don't. And I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money, right? So we get this story out about Urban Meyer, right? Another Urban Meyer story, okay? And yes, Urban Meyer, you won't see me show any sympathy towards a Florida Gator or Ohio State legend. And he obviously went down in flames. I tried to warn everyone that this was going to be a disaster. But here's the thing. A lot of people are looking at this and saying, well, that's why Trevor Lawrence was bad. It's because, he had the worst coach arguably in NFL history who's grinding on teenagers or 20-year-olds, whatever. And that's why the Jaguars sucked. And now Aaron Rodgers is going to be better with a Super Bowl winning coach and Doug Peterson. And Andy, before I get into
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Before I get into this conversation here about Trevor Lawrence, just give me your thoughts on what you truly feel about this guy.
I feel that he's incredibly hyped up, right? The draft pedigree, the college resume. Now you bring in the new coach. Now you bring in, the thing is, I've made some good money on Christian Kirk. People are excited about the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2022. It's so hard for me to invest him in at this point because everything new that comes out for him in these big major products from 2021 are going to be so expensive. And it's almost like they are set up to go down by October, November. We see this happen year in, year out with other players, and they're set up like if you were to bought into Joe Burrow, for example, October, November. Now, I know he did experience that horrific knee injury, but just for an example, he was a rookie. This is Trevor's second year. You could have bought into Joe Burrow in October, November last year and made a bunch of money. My point is that October, November prices go down historically if that team is not winning, if that player is not playing at MVP level. I know they brought in a lot of guys, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram from the Giants, but it seems like it's a bunch of second tier type of players. It's not, they don't have any big superstar. It'll be interesting to see how they got weapons, Laviska Shenault, Travis Etienne. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know if everything's going to gel together for them and they're going to be able to put it on the field and execute and actually win games in the AFC.
I'm out. I'm already out on Trevor. I'm out. Okay. So you can make all the excuses for him in the world. He wasn't good last year. There was a long streak where he wasn't scoring touchdowns. And I know film Twitter still loves Trevor Lawrence. They do, because his wide receivers were bad and they did drop a lot of passes. And the James Robinson scenario was a piece of crap. Okay. So look, that all those things are true, but that doesn't mean that Trevor Lawrence is going to have this huge second year boom. And I think a lot of people are expecting Trevor to take that same leap into year two that Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert did. And people have it in their minds, holy crap, we saw what those Joe Burrow cards are going to do, right? And we are definitely going to get in early on Trevor Lawrence so we could see the same thing happen again. It's not going to happen. He's not as good as those other two guys. Number one, his rookie numbers were really bad. They were so bad that even in garbage time situations, Andy, he wasn't fantasy relevant at all. It just wasn't good. And I do think his college career was overinflated. This was a guy who started every game his sophomore season, only had 2 300-yard passing games that year, Andy. Yes, they blew out a lot of teams, but still, His last year was a lot better, but the hype cycle started so early because he beat Alabama as a true freshman, and that hype has just been building up. Now, I say this as someone that really likes Trevor Lawrence's personality. He is a very interesting guy. He's a guy that doesn't take life too seriously. He's a guy that does put in the hard work at the same time. Also, Andy, I don't think this matters too much, but Trevor Lawrence is really big into football cards himself. Obviously, with that Tops situation that he did last year, where he had his own release of Tops cards that were his own design. They were all designed by his sister or brother, I believe. And he also was at the Super Bowl on behalf of Panini, signing stuff with Card Collector too. So the hobby, like diehard hobbyists, see Trevor Lawrence. They see him holding cards, signing cards. His signature is also very beautiful. You see him; he takes a lot of time signing every autograph because he's a good dude. He really does care. That doesn't mean he's good. Do I think he's going to be a decent quarterback? Absolutely. But I think he is more Derek Carr than he is Peyton Manning, than he is Justin Herbert, than he is Lamar Jackson, or any of the other elite MVP Super Bowl quarterbacks that we've seen. So I'm out on Trevor Lawrence for even more reasons. Okay. You see his rookie ticket autos going for close to $1,000 already. Let's talk about the AFC, Andy. Okay. Where's Trevor Lawrence going to get his wins?
That's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, even if he comes out and plays incredible and completely turns the ship around from last year, how are they going to make it deep in the playoffs when you're in the AFC with the Bengals, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Raiders? I mean, it's just like I don't see it happen. The Colts, which I think got an upgrade in Matt Ryan. I mean, just out of their own division with the Titans, the Colts, and the Texans. I mean, I don't see how they're going to win that division. I don't see how they're going to make a playoff run. So it's like those cards are I could say it right here with 100% confidence, Carter. His card values are going to go down by October, November.
And here's something else I'll mention, okay? This is where I'm going to zag on that, all right? All of that, what I just said, is fading Trevor Lawrence as a long-term investment. So let me bring up his schedule here, Andy. His schedule is actually really good to start the season. They actually, let me see. Are these? Let me make sure this is the regular season. It is. So this is his. Well, actually, no. The actual dates of the schedule haven't been released yet. I was looking at this, so we don't even know what his schedule is going to look like. I will say this: if he does have so the Jaguars are going to have a last place schedule. Okay. So if he does have a favorable start, like if you see the first game of the season is against, so their opponents are out, it's just the dates. If its first few games are against the Giants, Washington, Houston, and he puts up big numbers, then, when the card market is still really hot at the start of the season, you could probably buy it and flip it. But my thing is, the price is already kind of baked in if his rookie ticket autos are already going for over $1,000. I just don't see it. I don't think he's going to hit that next tier of quarterbacks. I think he's going to be very good. Heck, he can even be Derek Carr good. But, and we talk about how much brands matter. He's in Jacksonville. That's, not a big brand in the NFL, even though I like the Jaguars. Shout out David Garrard. Shout out Byron Leftwich. But they're the third biggest team in Florida, right? And to me, Andy, I just don't see it. I just don't. So I know a lot of people are going to buy his mosaic, and I saw a beautiful one-of-one mosaic. Jason at Dallas Card Investors had it in his hand. It's a beautiful card. You see some wonderful Trevor Lawrence designs. All that good stuff I said about him is true. He's just a good dude. I just don't believe it. I just don't buy the hype, and I don't think he's going to get into that Allen, Burrow, and Herbert tier ever. Oh, there it is right there. Oh, look at that.
My God.
I didn't know it sold.
$12,000, man. Authenticity guarantee from eBay. So that's nice. That's
that is the card that the Dallas Card Investor guy had.
One of one.
God bless. 12 G's, Andy, for a Mosaic 1 of 1.
Oh man, that's steep. I think right now is a really good time to sell Trevor. You're right, man. The prices of his product, especially with the release timing right now of 2021 cards, we're still waiting on Prism. We're still waiting on Optic. We're still waiting on Select. The rookie ticket autos just came out. I mean, this is crazy. This is kind of unprecedented for the sports card hobby, and so due to supply chain issues and whatnot. But I mean, due to this release schedule, I mean, this is the time to sell Trevor because you have this limited supply and this hype through the roof. And it's only going to go up, I think, the next couple of months. Imagine if they draft Justin Ross like in the second round. People are going to get even more excited about Trevor,
Right.
draft offensive tackles. They're going to get even more excited about the Jags. So, yeah, I see this head of steam like you do for Trevor right now. It's a great time to sell. And then if he tanks, I could see that something like that happening at the beginning of the season, like the Sam Darnold effect from last year, where he goes out and has all these rushing touchdowns. He looks great, puts on this great show for the first 4 weeks, and then completely tanks and falls apart. And but the problem with doing this with Trevor Lawrence, like you could have flipped Sam Darnold really well last year, made a lot of money, but Trevor Lawrence's cards are already so expensive. They're not like Sam Darnold where they were super cheap. And then he signed with the Panthers. They went up, and then he played good for a few weeks, and they went up even more. Trevor Lawrence's are already super expensive. So it's going to be really hard for them to go up more than what they're at now and over the course of the next 2 months.
I just think if your thought process is, well, we saw what Burrow did. Burrow made it to the freaking Super Bowl in a really crappy situation. Trevor's just not going to do it. I don't see the Jaguars even making the playoffs next year. So I like Doug Peterson. I like that he's a very analytics-driven guy, so that's going to help him win a few games. I just don't see it. I think Matt Ryan is actually going to work in Indy with Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor there. Are you kidding me? So yeah, I'm just out. I'm out on Mac Jones as well. I think Justin Fields is a very interesting buy in that weak NFC or the weaker NFC now. I'm just not in. I'm just not in. I could see a Matt Ryan kind of buy if you're trying to pull a Stafford here. If he can make a Super Bowl run with the Colts, they have a really good roster. I could see it happening. I think Matt Ryan's played okay in these last couple of seasons, better than what the record actually shows. I think the Falcons are the Falcons, just not the most well-run organization you'll ever see. So, Matt Ryan could be a very interesting buy right now. But Andy, once again, it's so important to keep this in mind as well as far as release dates. So we talked about, Mosaic being out, rookie ticket autos. Remember, Prism is still coming out. And all these other sets, clearly Donruss, all this other stuff is going to be coming out soon. So if you are holding Trevor Lawrence Mosaic or really any 2021 Mosaic right now, I would implore you to look into selling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Supply is so limited, so scarce, and it's so hot. New product, it's got the most players that we can speculate on. I personally, I'm a big proponent of targeting singles. I mean, targeted singles. You can target 2021 rookie ticket auto. I'll share my play of the week for the end when we get to plays of the week. But there's some good value out there, Carter, even with the scarcity and the limited supply right now.
Now it's before we get into play of the week, hobby tip of the week, Andy. I'm going to give one. Make sure you're sending the right card to somebody. I got a Drew Brees patch card that I was really excited about. We've talked about the game worn patches. Got one for extremely cheap. So it wasn't like the be all end all, but I was really excited to get the card. I was having a crappy week. First off, the packaging was horrible. It was sent in a 8x11 envelope. It was someone new in the hobby, right? Not mad at him at all. Not mad at him that he sent the Javonte Williams card, a Javonte Williams mosaic base insert instead of a Drew Brees card. I'm wearing a Drew Brees shirt right now, Andy. I wasn't mad, and here's why I wasn't mad. Because the seller handled this beautifully. He said, return it to me, which I did. I'll handle all of it. And guess what? He handled it. So, two things. if you make a mistake and you are clearly in the wrong, we've all done it, right? If you own up to the mistake as the seller of the card, everything just goes more smoothly, right? So number one, make sure you're sending the right card to the right person, because if you are selling a lot of cards, it's easy to get mixed up. It's easy to, print out a bunch of labels, slap them on a bubble mailer, and just put the card in the wrong one. It happens, right? But if you do make the mistake, fix it. I know it's a pain in the rear end. Just fix it. And it makes it a lot easier for the buyer who's frustrated as well at your mistake. So if you handle it the way that this guy handled it, which was world class, and it goes a long way. It really does. So that's my hobby tip of the week.
I think that's smart, Carter. So would you be upset if I sent you one of these Albert the Gator mascots in the mail?
I would love a Florida Gator silver prism mascot rookie card. It would be a wonderful thing to start a backyard fire with. I would love it. Huh?
Yeah, I had no clue in 2019 they made mascot cards for the Prism Collegiate Draft Pick set. It was really cool. You can get them for like $4 or $5. Like a couple different color parallels. They've got your LSU Tigers on here. I did buy the Albert the Gator. I was expecting to have it in my hand for this show so I could troll you with it a little bit, but I'll just have to show you a picture of it and I'll mail it to you. I'm going to tell you I'm sending you a Leonard Fournette. I'm sending you Leonard Fournette slab back, but it'll actually be Albert the Gator that shows up.
I love it, man. April Fool's is right around the corner. Why not?
Oh, that's true. I have to think of something else now because I just ruined that.
No, it's all good, man. The funny thing is something else. This is a hobby. It is called a hobby. Take it seriously, but don't take it too serious. All right. At the same time, it's sports cards, right?
Yeah.
I know our dreams is to all own a hobby shop and make $1,000 on a cello pack, which seems to be the prices on some cello packs now. So I'm going to give you my play of the week here, Andy, before you give yours. Be weary of buying retail now. Okay. So last year with retail, guess what? You can get a Prism cello pack for $8, $9, $10. Okay. Now cello packs at Walmart, Target, wherever. Andy, I bought 2 this morning for $17.50. Okay. $17.50 each for a 15 card cello pack, right? The cards in that pack, especially if it's a cello pack, are very unlikely to even equal up to $10 in value. So once again, if you're somebody that wants the thrill of opening a pack of cards to yourself or with your family or with your kids, go right on ahead and get those retail products. And I understand why retail prices went up, Andy, because people were buying them in mass and flipping it. I totally get that Panini wants a bigger piece of that pie, but that doesn't mean that you as a buyer needs to go out there and just buy them, right? It's just, I understand that there's some people that want to get a cello pack and sell it on eBay for $30. Is it even worth that though, to buy it up? No, it's not now at that price point. So do what you want when you buy retail, but my play of the week is that money that you could, and it's kind of like a hobby tip of the week, but that money that you could have spent on that you spent on retail could have gone towards another card that you might be chasing. So my play of the week is making sure you don't break your bank on retail.
I like it, man. The prices, yeah, like you said, have doubled. And what's wild, right? So you look at Trevor Lawrence, he's got 101 different mosaic cards. But yeah, out of 101, I would say that probably only like 20 to 30 of those are actually going to be profitable cards. I mean, you could probably flip them in short term, right? And do okay. But like after all these other products come out, these are going to lose value, especially we talked about what potentially could happen in 2022. And then you look at the price of the sealed product. I would also say stay away from buying cello packs off eBay. The sellers out there selling these on eBay, some of them, I would maybe more of them than less of them are weighing the packs, and like you can even get really tricky and open the pack, take out the good cards and glue them back together with base cards. We've seen that happen a lot. So my recommendation is stick to sealed boxes. If you're going to buy a sealed product on a secondary marketplace like eBay, that's not from like a distribution house like Steel City Collectibles or Blowout Cards, something like that, then stick with sealed boxes, because you don't know who is tampered with that product or what they've done, if they've examined it. And so your chances of getting a hit go down even more if you're buying those packs instead of boxes on eBay.
Andy, you hyped this up previous. I'm excited for your play of the week, man.
All right, so my play of the week is, I mean, look, the NFC is kind of wide open, and the Cardinals. I'm going to go to the Cardinals because there's a lot of vacated targets. There's over 100 vacated targets from Christian Kirk leaving that offense. And a lot of his snaps came out of the slot. See, I put those two words together. You like that? A lot of his slaps came out of the slot. And so, you know, that's going to leave a lot of vacated targets. So I'm targeting Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore was electric in college. I mean, the guy is incredibly elusive, fast. He might not be the biggest guy. He's pretty small, but he is a slot monster, man. And he's shown to actually, he's got like a 73rd percentile wingspan for only being 5'7". It's crazy. And he runs a sub 4.4 speed. We saw him have a couple games where it was like, whoa, everybody knows who Rondale Moore is now, you know, but that it was very far and few in between. He did not get very much opportunity in the offense with all those mouths to feed. Now Christian Kirk is gone. That's wheels up for Rondale Moore. And you can find his 2021 rookie ticket autos for like $20 right now, Carter, on card. Same variation that Jamar Chase's are going for almost $1,000. You get his for around $20. I love the investment. Potentially flip it. Beginning of the season, he has him a couple touchdown game with 150 yards. You see that, you know, triple, quadruple in value. It's just going up to $40. I mean, or if you bought him at 20, go up to 60, $70. Hey, that's very doable. You can make those kind of flips like that.
Purdue, I like it. Rondale Moore. That's such a good hobby tip of the week. Andy, this was another fun episode. Once again, give us 5-star reviews, okay? Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. And I cannot wait for next week, man, because hopefully by next week, my main PC guy, Tyrann Matthew, finally has a team. I need to know where the Badger is going. So subscribe, all that good stuff, and it goes a long way. And Andy's had so many great videos out, sets to avoid, all that good stuff. Make sure you check it out right here on the Quest, baby.
Hey, and we've been calling these moves right too, man. We've been calling moves right. If you guys go back and you pull receipts on our previous shows, we've called a lot of moves right, including last week. What did I say about Lombardi Lenny? 3-year contract with the Buccaneers today, Carter.
I thought in my heart of hearts, I thought he was going to come back because him and Brady are boys. But it feels good that he's back. Even as a Saints fan, I'm too big of a Fournette fan to not be excited that he's back in Tampa. Go on ahead, Lenny. You tote that rock, young man. I'm so excited. Let's go,
Lenny. And your Saints are stuck with Jameis Winston for 2 more years.
You know what's funny? I kind of like his rookie ticket auto buy. They're floating around like 140, 150. I'm just throwing it out there. And ironically, that rookie ticket auto is in a Buccaneers uniform. But anyway, we'll talk to you next week, baby. Peace.
See y'all. Peace.